Cooking up love, hey. Hey.
Today we are making, welcome back everyone, we are making spicy sausage soup. That was hard to say that 3 times fast. Anyway, it's loaded with vegetables, rice, it's a little bit of a creamy soup, and it's just delicious. Let's get started. Okay, I don't have the heat on yet, and my boyfriend was vacuuming, so I couldn't film all of this, but this is onion. My onion was large, so I just used a half of one, but 1 medium onion, 2 carrots, 2 celery, and then we're moving on to the next thing, which is, I usually cut the corn right off the cob. It tastes so good with fresh corn on the cob, but my corn, when I went to grab it today, was moldy and old, so I'm just going to use up this frozen corn. I need to use that up anyway before it gets frostbitten. And then what I have here is I have sweet potato. So go ahead and cut that into bite-sized chunks. Just kind of just roughly cutting everything into bite-sized chunks. So right now we have onion, carrot, celery, you know, the usual for soup, but this is going to also take corn and sweet potato. So yeah, so if the pieces are big, just cut them up. Here we go, just cutting these up. I'm going to start off with one. I don't remember, I made this the last time and I made it up. This is my own recipe, and I think this is my latest favorite soup, and it is soup season, so this is a delicious one, but I can't remember if I used 1 or 2. I'll let you know in a minute. I'm going to see what it looks like in the pan. 1 or 2 sweet potato, and also you can use your discretion how much vegetable or sweet potato you want. I did peel the sweet potato, and again, the heat is not on yet. We're not going to turn that on until everything is in the pot. Okay, we'll come back when I'm done with that. I did go with 1 sweet potato. This is what it looks like. Turn your heat on medium-high and start to get those veggies warmed up. The thing you want to add at this point is thyme. And I'm only adding thyme at this point because we're using hot Italian sausage, and the hot Italian sausage that I buy has so much flavor. That is the flavor for your soup. All those spices in that meat and all that heat is just going to really get into the broth and season that soup. So you shouldn't need additional spices, but go ahead and add, you know, your spices at this point. Oh, I bought, by mistake, I bought unsalted bone broth, so I'm going to add a little salt, but I will tell you that this, if you have salted broth, you shouldn't need the additional salt, because it will be salty enough. Okay, we're just waiting for those veggies to heat up. What we're going to start next is working on the meat. So I got a fresh cutting board. I'm going to put this out of the way. A fresh cutting board, and stir this occasionally. You want to add a lot of thyme. That is one of my favorite spices for soups. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my meat. This is 1.5 pounds of meat, so anywhere between 1 pound and 1.5 pounds of meat is where you want to be. 1.25 pounds, it doesn't matter. You just kind of want to make sure. I'm big on protein, so I like a good amount of protein in my soups, in all of my food. I'm big on balance. So it'll have veggie. I'm going to do garlic bread on the side, so it'll have carb, and then it will have protein from the meat. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I sliced open the casing on this, and I'm just going to pull out the meat because you want this. So you're buying the raw sausage, and you're just removing the casing on each one. And you want spicy. I did spicy chicken. You can do spicy pork. You just want like a spicy type of sausage. Whether this is Italian, spicy Italian, but there's like andalou and things like that. You can also, if you cannot find the spicy sausage, add cayenne to this recipe. But remember, the sausage is seasoned, and that's what's going to season your soup. And then if you don't like spicy, which it's not going to be the same recipe without the spice, but you can just use regular sausage. Italian is what I would recommend. Okay, I'm going to work on this. You can hear those veggies sizzling in the background. Keep stirring them and get them partially cooked. Alright, the vegetables are not cooked. They're not tender. You don't have to worry about that. You just want to cook them for about 5 minutes and then add your sausage. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the pan. Now, I have a meat chopper. I'll show you what it looks like if I can find it. Here it is. I got one of... There we go. I got one of these. They chop up the meat. So make sure you're chopping up that meat. You want it in little bite size. I feel like you're not getting this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. You want little bite size pieces. You want it really ground up. And this, you want to cook. So your vegetables are going to continue to cook. But also, we're going to, at some point, turn the heat up, and that will finish cooking the vegetables. So just get the meat as ground up as possible. Stir it up and ground up. And remember, all those flavors now are touching the vegetables and really starting to get into the pan, and that's going to season your soup. So another thing I do, let me just get all this that's kind of sticking to the side, stir this. But another thing that I do to help it cook is I'm going to cover it and then stir it and do that mashing thing all over again, and then I'm going to cover it again. So just repeatedly kind of check on it every once in a while until the meat is done. The other thing we're adding to the soup is roasted tomatoes. So you can even start these before you even start the soup. It doesn't matter. I'm getting them ready now. I oiled the pan and I oiled the tomato and then added salt and pepper. And this is going straight in the oven at 425 until they just start to brown a little. You don't want them burnt. You just want them browned a little. And I'll show you what they look like when they come out. Okay, we're going to add in the bone broth. 32 ounces or 4 cups. Okay. And I use bone broth. I think it tastes better than chicken stock, and it adds a lot of flavor. It's also better for you. And it's got protein. So I like it for many reasons. But as far as flavor, it tastes better. So that's kind of really all you need to know is your soups. It's going to level your soups up, any soup recipe that you have. And then I'm going to add a half a cup. This is the one thing, I don't measure a lot of stuff, but I always measure rice because you don't want this to turn into rice. You want this to be soup with rice in it. So half a cup of rice and stir that. And leave this at medium-high, covered. Don't boil it. The rice will still cook. Put this at medium-high for half an hour. I'm sorry, I forgot to say add the bay leaf at this point. So I'm going to go ahead And that's a small one, so I'm going to add 2. One good-sized bay leaf is really all you need. If they're really small, add 2. And then just kind of submerge those into the soup. Okay, and now we're going to let this cook covered on medium-high for about 20 minutes to a half an hour, at least. Covered on medium-high, the soup has come to a rolling boil, so I'm going to turn it back down to like a medium-low, more towards the low side, and let this just simmer like you would rice on a, with a cover on it. Here are the tomatoes. You want the skins to be wrinkly. You want them to look wilted. Sometimes they will get a little brown. There's a pepper on here. So, you don't want them burnt or well done. You just want like a little tinge of brown around the edges. So, now we're going to blend these. But warning here, do not blend these hot like this, like fresh out of the oven. That is going to cause them to explode when you take the cover off of your blender. So, because we're doing this all in one day, I'm going to put these in my blender, which this is my NutriBullet blender, and I'm going to put them in the freezer until they're cooled enough to blend. So with that being said, if you don't want to do that and spend all day in the kitchen, you can always make your tomatoes, like roast them the day before and put them in the fridge. I mean, yeah, look at all that. I don't know if you can see all that steam, but yeah, that's going to cause this to explode, and I don't want anyone to get burned and not know and get burned. So you can cook them the night before and then blend them the next day. You can cook them the morning of and get that step out of the way. But for making the video, I wanted you to see how I roast my tomatoes, so I didn't make them up ahead of time. Normally I would. But okay, so the heat is off on my soup while we're going through all this because I tested the vegetables. The vegetables are cooked, completely cooked. They're tender to the fork, and I have the heat off. So there you go. It's still kind of steamy. I got the cover on so that I don't lose liquid, and everything's tender and cooked. The rice is cooked, everything. So set that aside, and we'll come back and finish this soup off. There's really only 2 more ingredients, but they're very important. Okay, I let that cool. I blended my tomatoes, pulverized them, and I'm going to add that to the soup. And the other thing that you're going to add to this soup is heavy cream is what people usually use, and that would be 1.5 cups. But I was at one point dairy-free, and so I found some favorites that I like. And now I make every soup with organic, unsweetened coconut milk. But it's the same thing as heavy cream. So pour that into your soup. Give it a good stir. Let me get a spoon. Give it a good mix. And this is a delicious, hearty soup. This is definitely a winter soup. This is something you could take to Thanksgiving too. It's a non-traditional item, but oh, this is so good. This ended up being my favorite soup. Enjoy eating gluten-free again.